Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Global Card Collectors. Today it is Will and I recapping our last weekend at the in Düsseldorf, Germany, at Card Madness. Uh, we had an awesome time, all in all. We're going to get into it and talk more about the specifics and some of our takes. Will made a video in case you haven't seen it, which provides a lot of visuals and good storytelling along the way, which we hope to unpack more. But how you feeling? You recovered? You were in Germany all week, man. So feeling all
It's
right?
taken me a couple of days, mate. I'm still a little bit groggy almost, you know. It was post-holiday hangover, let's call it, where the last 2 days I've just been like, oh man, I'm really tired. And so like I had a little cat nap yesterday. It was kind of cool, but it was fun to it's fun to come back now and think about the show and what it was like. How about you, mate?
Yeah, same. I mean, I felt even worse Tuesday than Monday
Me too.
somehow. I think it was just kind of the excitement wearing off or something. Monday was still there. But yeah, better today. Got to the gym finally and
Nice.
this morning, so feeling better.
Yeah, good, man.
Oh, and I got my ears cleaned yesterday. Sorry,
Ah, so
sorry for the
you finally
details.
went. That's right. So along the
Yeah.
way, John had been trying to, I guess, self-medicate your ear cleaning, and
Yeah, just huge wax buildup. I swim. I think that's where it's from. But yeah, needless to say, it's nice to hear again.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, just jumping in the show and kind of our main impressions on the weekend. As I said, the video is a good short version if you want to check that out. Um, we arrived. Will came by train from Berlin. He had been, visiting friends there for the week. It looks like you had an awesome time. I know
It
you
was great.
did.
Yeah, it really was great.
And I came with Berk, not on the same flight. He flew from the other airport here in Istanbul, but we both flew in on flights early Saturday morning. So, I woke up at like 3:15 and we had a little cat nap on the plane, but we saw each other in customs line. He came like 20 minutes later. So we met up and took the train in and then pretty much met you in the train station.
Hmm.
And then, there's a couple more stops from there. I mean, Dusseldorf Metro, whatever they call it, is very easy, and that was super nice,
Agreed.
and free with the show. Apparently, it's one of these things where you don't, unless the cop comes around and looks for your ticket, that you don't know, you don't have to pay anything. So we never had to deal with that. That was nice. Anyway, went over to the show, arrived around 11:20, I believe,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
yeah, what do we find?
Well, we found what we were hoping to find was just an empty entrance. We kind of just show our ticket, swipe our QR code, and go through. But what we found was a queue that lasted for over 40 minutes. So that was not a great first impression. I remember you made a little personal video for that. What did you say in that, mate?
Uh, forget. In my kind of normal sarcastic way, I was just like, yeah, we've been here. This is probably 11:30 and, just hour. I probably said an hour. It felt that long. Waiting for the queues. And, fortunately, I ran into Jamie. Well, you spotted him from afar. I never met him in
Hmm.
person. And, so caught up with him and we kind of caught up and hung out a bit outside. And he had an extra table ticket, so I got to just get in with his, which saved me maybe 10 minutes over you guys because you'd been waiting for 45 minutes.
Hmm.
And yeah, then we got in, and so that really did put a damper on things to start. It was sunny. You're just sitting there. It just kind of kills your momentum of vibe. Like coming off a plane. I mean, we'd all traveled 4 or 5 hours at least, to kind of get there, and then to have to wait in line was just a buzzkill. Hot sun, et cetera, et cetera. Um, we go in, and it's just very crowded. our initial walkthrough. And I think, in retrospect, we didn't even look for a floor plan to start. I knew Jamie's table number, so I was going to just go try to find him right away. But they didn't have a floor plan, as we came to find out, as we started to look for one. There were not people kind of, there greeting us. I think the big problem they had was that they didn't have enough people, number one, kind of the first day to,
Hmm.
you should just have more people to get you in if this is the system. And this kind of builds on the second thing that you said is like, you should just have a QR scanner, scan your thing, which we already bought the ticket, right? Get the thing and walk in instead of having to stand in this line. You meet a person at the line, and then they use their phone to confirm that your barcode is good and give you your thing. And then you go through this thing. So it was just very, very slow. I don't know. Machines, are they that expensive? I don't know. But it definitely was not ideal.
What I'll say is, as a first impression, it really, like you said, it puts you in a negative mood, especially when we've been really excited for this for months. We've spent a lot of energy, money, and time to get there. And so to have to wait in a queue when you get to the place, it just didn't feel good enough for me. And I've been to a few shows in New Zealand where you have volunteers helping out and organizing things. I don't know if they're quite this big. Like this was a big, big show, but they were decent sized shows in New Zealand too. And when they have queues, they move quickly. Like you understand, there'll be a queue at the beginning of the day, but we arrived over an hour late, and for them to not be ready for that, it just says it's not good enough. Like it shows that they're not really committed to organizing something well enough, or something went wrong with their system. And I think for every person that we talked to, when we asked about the show, that was the first thing that everybody said. Like, I remember talking to a vendor and he said, I said, what do you think of the show on at least yesterday? And he's like that was a disaster. It was a disaster. And it really was. Like, what core things do you want a show to do? You want them to get a whole bunch of different vendors. You want them to advertise the show. And then on the day, you want everything to run as smoothly as possible. And so I felt that almost disrespected us, especially us who have traveled from another country,
Yep.
bought tickets to the show, which weren't cheap. Had to rearrange our summer plans with our families, lots of different things. And for us to then have to wait in the queue because they're not ready to roll, it wasn't the best impression, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I hope people, we're not like negative guys necessarily. I mean, we try not to be at least, and recognize when we are. And this probably sounds pretty negative,
Hmm.
but we just gotta call it as we see it, and that's just the truth. And it certainly didn't impact the rest of the show, which was, we had a great time kind of despite this, of course, and we'll get into that more. But yeah, we just that's the truth. And you made a point in your video about how there are other shows in Europe. The London Card Show, Paris Card Show, Budapest is having one.
Hmm.
There's one in Spain. They're all over Europe, and there's even one in Frankfurt, I believe. A competing German show. So if we're going to travel all that way, there's competition. So
That's
I'm
right.
not going to go to this next year just on that alone. It's like going to a restaurant and just not being all that thrilled when invest an evening and money and all that into it. You're just going to try something else for sure. So that's where we are.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. There's a lot of great places to visit in Europe. Like I've never been to Spain before, so the Spanish shows are a little bit higher than the others on my list. But London,
Okay.
I'd love to go back to. I've never visited Paris either. Been to France, but not Paris. So in the Paris card show could be fun. Could take the family, that sort of thing. So starting to look elsewhere is exciting, but I just feel like they missed a trick. If they had really looked after us as guests, if it had been as efficient as our perspective of German efficiency is, and we talked about this at length after the show. If it had been efficient as we had thought a German show would be, then I think we'd be happier. But there's a difference between the reality and the stereotypes that we play out in our minds, you know?
Stereotypes are stereotypes. They're often true and often not true, right? I
Yeah,
don't know.
very true. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah. And another thing was like, I don't know. I kind of thought you'd get like a bag of something, like just some free stuff, or just a little special thank you for coming. Just a suggestion for next time, guys. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. What did you think of the Saturday in general, mate? Anything that sticks out in your mind on Saturday?
Uh, Well, definitely the highlight was this outdoor area where they had a couple food vendors, um, and you could burger joint and a beer cider wine whatever bar, just hanging out there because it was not crowded, fresh air, was not that hot, and just meeting other people. I mean, we ran into this guy. I mean, I saw this guy from afar, and actually, I was holding the door for his friends, and then initially, and then he kind of, how like when you're holding a door and people just keep going through it, he was the
Yeah,
one who stops, like, okay, now it's your turn, like, so
great.
I like the guy already, and anyway, ran into him outside, and I see he has a Puna, he has an Obama jersey I see on the back, and it looks like a Warriors jersey, so I go up to him, I like really liked Obama when he was president or whatever, or especially when he was running. I was kind of like really into it. And I have Obama cards. So go up to him, and it's Punahou, the high school Obama went to in Hawaii, and he played basketball there. And anyway, Holgor was his name, and we met him and his brother, right,
That's right.
and a couple of his buddies, and we just chatted for like half hour, 45 minutes. Just yeah, you really hit it off with Mark, I think the brother.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it was fun because they were again very specific collectors and they collected a lot of 90s stuff, so we had a lot to talk about. So
yeah,
one brother started collecting Larry Johnson cards, which I think is great. Like Grandmama Larry Johnson, classic 90s guy with the awesome Charlotte Hornets uniform. And then I think day two, I saw him again and he was wearing Larry Johnson's Knicks jersey. And he's got all of his jerseys, that kind of thing. And he also collected Alonzo Mourning
we
and had a crazy amount of just Johnson and Mourning cards. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, he told me, which I just found very interesting. He was all about Larry Johnson, and then somewhere along the journey, he discovered there was someone else who was also doing Larry Johnson, but his collection was just even more ridiculous. So it kind of, hurt his spirit or whatever, and he kind of switched to Alonzo Mourning at that point because it's like that desire to be like the best Larry Johnson collector, or
Yeah, of
and I've
course.
noticed that among some European collectors, like older guys more our age. I don't know, Andreas in Budapest is like all about Pippin. These kind
Even
of
even the other guy in their crew, he was a big Latrell Sprewell collector.
that's
So
right.
again, very specific collections and just going for their guy, which I really loved. It was cool.
It was cool. And yeah, they as you said, they've been in it longer, so interesting, very interesting to talk to them. Maybe they'll come on a future episode. Would love to have them.
Yeah, so I think we went in and out of the main, I guess the main floor where all of the cards were to this smoking slash food area quite regularly because day one was pretty overwhelming.
Hmm.
In fact, it was so overwhelming that I struggled to even look at a lot of cards because there were bottleneck areas, and when you did stand to take a look, and I had my backpack on, it felt like people couldn't get past, so I didn't really feel comfortable even standing there. Even when I took my backpack off and put it in front of me, I always felt like I was in the way, and I'm not a small fella either, so it was tougher on day one for sure. They did improve in day two, which we'll get to in a minute, but because of that, I did just keep going outside and needing the fresh air because it was very crowded, but also because I just felt like it was nicer outside. And I think you and I both, one of our things, what we wanted to do was to interact with other collectors and to just to chat with them. And I think we did. I think we really succeeded with that because everybody has cards to talk about. And do you want to kick us
Yeah.
off with probably what was the highlight of day one for mine? The story of An Iranian collector getting his Grail card.
Yeah, so I mean, Berk, Nick and you and I were all outside and uh just chatting, and then this guy kind of sits next to me. We're sitting on the ground, like, next to the wall, and he hears us say something in Turkish, and so he says hello. He's Turkish, like German Turkish. So we start talking to him, asking about his cards. He's showing us some stuff, and I don't know who saw the card.
It was back. Back
Okay.
definitely saw it.
Yeah, Barrick is, I mean, he's just, it's a charming, lovely guy.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of, just, oh, Barrick. And he just like, oh, Sardar Azmoun. And like this guy next to, like, nearby hears that, and no one knows that name, right? He's an
Hmm.
Iranian soccer player. It's a gold vinyl, 2022 World Cup Prism, one of one. It's an amazing card, right? So, and this guy hears it and he's like, Sardar Azmoun?
Like he shouted his name. It was
Yeah,
like,
like
whoa.
he was like, "What?" Like, see, like, how do you hear someone talking about your PC player, as it turns out? Um, it's like his grail, basically, the one of one from the World Cup Prism set. I mean, those kind of players don't have, like, amazing cards. Like, that's like the set where they're going to be in that you really want.
Hmm.
And I mean, gold vinyl. Gold vinyl is objectively, I think, gorgeous.
Hmm. Agreed,
And
man. Those are good looking cards.
right. And yeah, so then they start talking and negotiating, and he's like, "I want this," like, and it was, slow. No, I want this much, and then the guy's like, "Fine, fine." Like, he's not gonna walk away from it. So everybody kind of won. I mean, he found his grail, and the Turkish guy sold a card he probably wasn't expecting to sell. And you really wouldn't expect that, I feel like.
It
Yeah,
was great. One thing I noticed about it was the guy had said, I don't have that much money left because I've spent all this money on a Lamine Yamal card. He'd
yep,
spent 8,000 euro on a Lamine Yamal card. And he was much more excited for a card he paid much, much less for.
yeah.
And he was like, "Look at me, bro. I'm shaking." And you can see the hairs on his arms. And stuff. He's like, "I can't believe it." It's like, "Man, I got to get a photo of this man. Congratulations. Please, do you mind?" He's like, "Of course." And he's holding the card. I'm like, "Yes, I got it." It was so cool.
It was amazing. Yeah, really. I mean, to see that, and just overall, like that. It's like I really love the weekend, and I think it's just we all made friends and met new people because there's just this vibe, and I'm sure everyone experiences this. I hope they do in the hobby. It's just like we're all kind of rooting for each other, and we
Agreed.
just want to see, like, awesome, man, like, and you get something, I'm like happy for you, and vice. I mean, we're not competing really, and we all say whatever we want, and it might be stupid, it might be smart, but everyone just shares and no one's judging, kind of. And I don't know, I just it was beautiful. It's kind of why I like the hobby. It's like a gateway to making friends and kind of just being human together. I mean, no politics, no, maybe once I mistakenly kind of said something because I'm an idiot that way, but yeah. Really cool.
You did apologize straight after that. Wait, wait, wait. I'm not going to talk about politics. Let's get
Yeah.
back to what we're here for. I think that's definitely the thing I've noticed about being a card collector. The more you get into it, and we can credit a lot of it to our podcast as well. Meeting people is definitely the best part of the hobby. It's the most exciting part of it because you get to see the interests that people have, and they might be slightly different to yours, but you always have this common thread that you can talk about. And talking with these brothers, just immediately becoming fast friends with them and chatting with them for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then going back into the show and seeing them the next day and chatting with them again. It's the fun part of being at a show. And I think the show definitely nailed it in that sense. Like there was a wide range of collectors there, and I really had a good time just talking with a wide range of people from vendors to people just outside to people indoors, complimenting them on their shirt or whatever it was, like you did. it just is a conversation starter. And then we had a fun time both days. I really did have a good time on day one too. Anything else about day one that you want to share?
Was great to meet Mirza of Attila's Trophies
Yeah.
and his partner Gregory. They're like a two-man crew. And he, he talked to me. I'm in this Jokic group with him, and his Grail is also his Jokic Grail is my Jokic Grail. And he secured it in LA, I think last fall. So I was like, "Oh, do you have it?" And so I got to see it. I've never seen one in hand. And that was also a lot of fun just in general, seeing like really amazing cards, in person. I mean, only seen them on screens otherwise. So that was really cool as well.
Yeah, I agree. And there were some unreal collections in there too. Yeah, I remember. Did you see the Jordan Autos collector that we saw? Do you want to
Yeah.
tell a story of what happened with the offers and that sort of thing?
Oh
You
my
might as well,
God.
mate.
I mean, I literally saw maybe I won't share his name, but I saw someone offer this guy. I mean, the last comp, he's like, yeah, the last comp was like 280,000 on this Jordan auto. I don't know the card. It's just so out of my league or something that I don't want to bother processing it all. But uh, and the guy offers like, I'll give you 350, and the guy's like, no, it's just PC. Like, oh my God, like.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man.
You just said no to 350,000. Like, I was like, Jesus.
Like it was an immediate no too, was it?
Yeah, yeah. I was not like,
Didn't even think about it.
no, he didn't
Wow.
just, yeah,
Wow.
just smiling. I mean, it seems like he was there just to kind of show him off, and that's cool too. No problems with
100%.
that. Yeah. He was a really nice guy. Yeah.
You also interacted with an artist. Do you want to tell us his story? Because that was day one too, right?
That was day one. You're right. So the B brothers, I think if you're on Instagram, you probably have run into them at some point. They're in Cologne, Germany. um, Croatian brothers, and one of them is an artist, Ivan Beslic, and I'd always liked this. I'll show the card now. This is Project 22. Topps did this series. I don't know, maybe 80 different cards, and he designed these for this. Not all 80, I think it was. He did like a tranche of 20. And just a beautiful kind of design of Modric. I'd always kind of liked the card. I didn't realize it was a thick card too, um, online, which makes it nicer. But and then he signed it for me, and I was like, my friend Nick introduced me to him. He knew him, and also introduced me to his brother Kiki. And I see the card. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I'll get one. Can you sign it? So he did it in this purple pen. Just a beautiful, beautiful card. And like um, I was like, how much is this? He's like, for you, it's free. Because he was happy that I'm a Modric collector, and he's Croatian, and of course loves Modric. And so then I was like, I have this like Modric card that's worth less than 30, probably 25, 30. And I was like, oh, well, let me give you this. I don't think he has a lot of Modric other cards. I don't, maybe he does. But anyway, so it was a nice exchange. That was definitely a highlight as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I have anything else to share about day one. I really just felt a bit tired, a bit overwhelmed. It actually underwhelmed me a little bit, mainly because I think they're beginning and the fact that the crowds were tough to navigate. And one interesting thing about the place being so full and so busy was I remember when we walked out to the main lobby again, and this was probably, I want to say around 2 o'clock. I might be wrong with the timing here, but there were still crowds of people waiting to get in because the venue was basically over full. So the only way that other collectors could get into the venue was when others left, which again, not the best planning from the organizers. Again, don't really want to rip them too much. As you can tell, we want to talk about the fun stuff that we did experience at the show, but that was another kind of like a negative
Yeah, I
about
mean,
the event as well.
the show was apparently sold out like 2 months ago. But then, just what you described suggests that they sold more tickets than capacity. I don't know
Hmm.
how else to explain what you saw and I saw as well. Yeah, it might have been a little earlier than two, but yeah. I mean, I can't imagine waiting until like 12:30 or 1 to get into a show that opened at 10.
Do you want to tell us about your other pickup? Because you did pick up a card on day one as
Ah,
well.
yeah, that's right. I mean, this was the only, well, yeah, the Modric,
Wait. Can I just preface this?
please.
When we were walking through the show and when we were looking at everything, John's just like, I'm not buying. I'm not buying. I'm not buying anything. I'm not buying anything here. I'm here to sell and look and interact, but I'm not buying anything. I'll let you take over.
Yeah, so just kind of, looking and I see a display that I'm like, oh, I like this kind of stuff. And I see this card, which is a Diego Maradona. You can call it a rookie. It's an very early card. It's the, FKS. I don't know what that means, to be honest, but it's a crack sticker of his, SGC1, which goes very well with my Pele SGC1 here.
Nice.
And I look up, of course, it's Jamie's display. So
Yeah.
we finally found Jamie, and this was like towards the very end of the day. And I had seen this card on one of his story sales about 2 months ago, and I thought I've been looking for this for a while, and I kind of maybe I hadn't been looking last month. But just checking auctions, blah blah. And so I thought about asking for it 2 months ago. So then this was just perfect. I had to get it, and so I'm super happy to pick it up. I want to show you. It's kind of inspired me too. I wanted a Cruyff card. I actually owned a Cruyff card, but sold it, and because it. And I realized I wanted a Cruyff card in Netherlands gear. If you can't tell, by the way, this Maradona, the reason I like it so much, it's got the Argentinian flag. This does not have a flag, but I bought this yesterday actually. I found this Cruyff. It doesn't show up that well on the screen, but it's
There we go.
1978 Monty Gum Cruyff. Not a rookie, not that expensive. I found it on Comp C, so it's already sent off to SGC through Comp C.
Great.
Pretty good copy. So I'm really liking filling out this kind of these little vintage stickers
Legends of football
cards.
cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Stickers, cards. Yeah.
Gibby. Yeah,
Cool, man.
yeah.
And
So
so that I think that was one of our last interactions at the show on day one, and I think we didn't we stayed for as long as we could. I think I want to say we left at about 4:30, maybe even 5 o'clock.
5. It was past 5.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
yeah. Because I mean, we were exhausted. I mean,
exhausted.
totally exhausted.
And fair enough. I mean, you waking up at 3:15 in the morning. I think I was up at just after 4, so it makes sense that we were tired. And I mean, we tried our best to make the most of day one, but it was lucky that we knew that we had Sunday in our pocket as well. So yeah, after around 5, we all went back to our hotel rooms, had a bit of a rest, and then we went out for dinner. And then what happened at dinner, man? Which was fun to be out and about in Düsseldorf with you guys and to share a beer and to have some German food. And then what happened at dinner?
Yeah, I mean, we got our schnitzels
Yep.
that fix in. Food was good. And then, I mean, yeah, I mean, get a message from Jamie like, oh, there's a trade night at our hotel. It's pretty casual, but come on by. So, we got back to our hotel. I was like, we have to go and get our cards. It turns out we really didn't need to do that, but anyway, we then we walked over. It's like 10 minutes away. Walked through a park, and yeah, met the guys from Budapest and Jamie, of course. So that was fun. We didn't stay too long at that point. I think we got there like 11:30 at night, and so we were home by like 1.
What was interesting about that was these guys are the vendors, so that they've been there since the morning, and they went all through the day at the show, and the next thing you know, they are in the lobby of their hotel trading cards. Like it's just like if you want to be a card trader and you go to an event, you got to make the most of that time. And so they were going for it, man. And there were people opening boxes. I saw a big UFC opening, and some guys are getting autos, and you hear them on the other side of the lobby, going, "Why, why, oh, and they pull some really great order that they've been looking for and all that sort of stuff. So it was wild, man, just to think that they'd been working all day at the show, and then in the evening, while they're resting and relaxing, their time to relax is to check out each other's collections. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean these dealers. I mean that was what was. I mean it's fun. I mean Jamie's. I know he's probably in his 20s or something. I mean I'm much older, but I just learned so much from him, right? Like
Hmm.
and so watching these guys, like there's some other guy. They're just trying. He's just trying to get him to drop on a price, and this other dealer he just won't. He's playing hardball, and blah blah blah. Like just watching all that in person is funny. I mean, it's interesting, kind of eye-opening, and you kind of learn. And these guys are just they're more evolved in the hobby than you and I are. I mean,
Hmm.
for good or bad, but I mean, they know more, and they're swimming in waters that we don't swim in, and it's interesting. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was fun, but I think leaving when we did, I think just around midnight rather than 11:30. I think we got back to the hotel, and
Okay.
I did get a good night's sleep. That's for sure. I was exhausted, man.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
Day two was I think was much better for myself. I think we kind of were able to we talked it over dinner as well about like what we wanted to do, the goals we had. And I think we were much clearer about what we wanted to do on day two than day one. I think day one was good to kind of get a feel for the place and just kind of learn what it was about. But day two, we were ready to roll. And I think the same of the hosts as well. They
Yeah.
had really messed up on day one, but day two was a much better experience as a collector. We didn't have to wait in queue. We went straight in. We showed our passes and we walked straight through the gates, which was nice. And the place was just much less crowded. I think they had maybe adjusted tables slightly because there were some bottleneck points. Like I remember in all of the corners of the venue just being like you'd wait next to people and you couldn't get through because nobody was moving. And there were two or three rows of people who wanted to see a certain table, and it meant that you couldn't walk through to the other side. But day two, there was just a little bit more space. I think it was a little bit less crowded because we got there first thing in the morning. But I was able to see a boatload of stuff, man. I was definitely able to spend more time at certain tables and look at what they had, and that's when I really started getting excited about what was actually at the show. How about you?
Yeah, no, same. I mean, so our goals we talked about, number one was to get some wax
Hmm.
because we have the Istanbul card show and it just kind of, nothing expensive really, but just to have on the table to kind of, you know, get people to come and
Hmm.
people like wax. We'll do it as packs, I think. So we picked up what, a couple soccer, you got a tennis and you got what, Garbage Pail Kids?
I got some Garbage Pail Kids cards because they're so popular in New Zealand. I thought, why not just give it a crack over in
Yeah,
Turkey and see
yeah.
if they like them too?
Yeah. So that was fun. We kind of went in on that and so we'll have some wax at our tables. We're sharing two tables at the show, I think with the fourth guy maybe. And but then we also going in, you and I were like, we need to sell, right? And because this is
Yeah.
a good opportunity to move cards. I think particularly for you, I think you did well in moving cards that you're not going to move in Turkey. Um, and other cards, like for me too, that I'm not going to move in Turkey either. You just have to send to the States and, auction it or whatever, put it on a vault site or something. So we really were targeted on that. Um, I walked in and like gave a guy a pretty good deal on a Modric I was willing to let go just to get the juices flowing. But then we happened upon you saw it. This guy's just like this like paper sign, just like but sell me your cards, like right. And we had to wait like 15 minutes for him to deal with the guy he was dealing with. But then turns out they're repackers, basically, American guys. They were there just buying cards, and they were very fair with comps. So, I felt like I was getting, 90, 95% of comps. I mean, I actually made profit on a couple cards um, because they had appreciated, but they weren't trying to do like 70 or 80% of comps. And so it was fair and much better for me to move them there. and just get paid, then send them to the States and all that. So that was great. And but you maybe you can tell your sales. I think they're more interesting.
Yeah, so I had four cards that I sold with them. One was the John Wall one of one that you and I pulled out of what's the set name again? I always forget it. Oh,
Donruss
it
Elite
wasn't Elite. It
2021.
was Elite. It was
It
Elite.
was the
I was
Elite
gonna say
die cut. Yeah.
yeah. So it was the die cut John Wall one of one that's in green, and so I was able to sell that one because who honestly, let's be fair, unless you're a John Wall card collector, not many people would be wanting a John Wall one of one. So I was able to sell that one. I think at a pretty good price. I also sold the Nebula Dame Lillard card that I'd won in a Raz in New Zealand. I think a few New Zealand collectors might know the card that I was talking about. I tried to sell it there. Nobody was biting. I tried to list it in Turkey. No one wanted it in Turkey either. So I ended up selling it to the guys at the show for, again, a very good price. And I was really happy with that. And then I sold two Shea PSA 10 rookie cards that I'd bought, I think, 2 seasons ago now,
Hmm.
and they'd appreciated in price pretty well. I think I picked them up for about $40 each, and I made decent money on those, so I was pretty happy with it. Yeah. So those are my four sales, and I think in terms of the Shea cards, it's the perfect time to move them. It would have been a little bit easy, better to move them maybe a month ago, but I had no way to get rid of them, and so
Yeah.
you want to do it now while he's hot, and can always pick them up in a couple of years' time if I really want them again, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I think and the Dame card, I mean, yeah, you have to I think go to the US to sell that. Or
Hmm.
maybe China, but I mean Nebula 101, beautiful card. If you're a Dame collector, you would want that card. But it's just hard. So that I thought that was ideal. Yeah. So we felt really responsible, you know. We were really happy because we're both, as we've shared, trying to kind of consolidate and these kinds of things. So happy to move those cards and yeah, and then I don't know, that was practically the highlight of the day for me.
Yeah, and I think you're right in the sense when we were outside and on the video, you said this is basically paid for our trip. So, you know, traveling to a destination to go to a card show is not cheap. And so they basically covered all of our costs in many ways and then a little bit on top. And I was really happy about that. I think before and after that, though, I had had more time to look around the tables at certain cards, and I ended up picking up a few. So I'm gonna show off just I'll just show
Please.
off three cards. So I'm gonna leave this one till last. It's my favorite. So we'll start off with a tennis card. So here is a Novak Djokovic card, and what I really like about it is that the card is it looks like a playing card, so it's an ace, and obviously in tennis to have a great serve to be able to ace someone or something. So this set is called Aces, which is great, and it's got Djokovic in the pose where he's about to basically serve, which is really fun. So haven't got a tennis card before, so this is one. I also picked up an auto of, I think, an underrated UFC fighter. His name is Cyril Gane, and he's fought a lot of the big name heavyweights and managed quite well. And this one was only €6, so I thought this was a nice little pickup. I might even flip this at the Istanbul card show. We'll see. But this was a nice little pickup too. And this one is from Flux. That's why it's got the weird little colors there. But the last one was dirt cheap. And when I went up to the seller, I think it was shocked that someone even wanted the card. But I think my friend Shannon, who I've had on the show, and even Tony, who I've had on the show as well, who are New Zealand wrestling fans, will get a kick out of this. I picked up a Bushwhackers card, which I don't have, which I think is amazing. So I've got Butch and Luke here, and I picked this one up in Germany for €1.50, man. So I'm pretty stoked. He said, "What else are you looking for?" I'm like, "Do you have any other New Zealand wrestlers?" And the guy's like, "You're being a little bit too specific there, mate." I said, "It's fine. I got this one. I picked this one up in a card show in Düsseldorf from a German seller, which I think is amazing. So yeah, those are my three pickups on the day. Anything else that you wanted to add for the day, mate? Any moments that you had?
No, just yeah, I did pick up one other card from my daughter. She a Serena card. She has there are three Net Pro 2003 cards, and
Hmm.
she has one of them. I got it graded. It got an SGC 10, and then I found a second version, and actually the third there too. But I just got one. I was responsible, and I think she really likes it, and she wanted me to get her a Labubu. I don't know if those are popping in the States too, probably. Um, but they're like fake ones being sold for like 60 euro. And I was like, I told her on Monday, I'm like, look, I promise you, this will appreciate more than your Labubu. Uh, and she got it. It was kind of a nice conversation we had on Monday about it. She's like, yeah, it's just like a fad. Like things go, there'll be something else next month, and it's hot. So that was, I don't know, a good thing to hear her say, because she is on from like one thing to another kind of in this way, and as we know, that's how the industry works, just like pumping things up and overprinting them, and then they die. So yeah, great to get her a card. She's kind of more into cards than my son at this point. I wouldn't even say she's into them, but she knows I am, so she likes, we do a little bit together, so that was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I picked up some stuff for Moana too, some Pokemon cards, of course, and a Pokemon little plushie that she's very happy with. So that's adding to her Pokemon collection and her obsession with cards. So I'm very happy to do that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, she's a collector. I mean, you've
Yeah,
really, yeah. That's great. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the show.
pretty much, pretty much. I guess the next thing for us is the Istanbul Card Show, which is in September. We've gotten a couple of tables already, I assume. So we're going to be vendors there, and we'll see how that all goes. We're not really sure how that's all going to work out because the venue they've booked us, we've probably mentioned in an episode before, but it's massive.
Yeah.
So how they're going to manage that after the first show being pretty small, I don't know, but maybe it works out. I guess it's going to be remains to be seen, and we'll obviously have a little bit of a chat about this before and after the show happens too.
Yeah, I made my family watch your video of Düsseldorf show,
Hmm.
and of course, then what pops up, Layla starts watching other videos to find herself or whatever,
All right.
She was at the Istanbul card show, and so we watched that one from last year, and there were a lot of people there. I mean, I think I don't know, at least 500, 600 now that I think about it. And so we'll see how they do at this big venue, but it does seem like they'll bring the attention to it. I mean, we'll see. I hope it does well.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I think we're good,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Okay.
Be good, everybody. Yeah, talk to you soon.
Yeah, see you next time.